Aloha all, this is Samana with Unconventional Insights. This is my last podcast of 2019. I'm calling it Closing Out Ritual of the Decade of 2019. It's number 26. On the 26th, okay, so what a year. It seems to have flown by and was filled with so many new moments and experiences. That's how I saw it. I love to end the new year in a specific reflection and closure ritual. Most like to celebrate and drink too much and all that on New Year's Eve. Since my teens, have never really been a partier to celebrate New Year's Eve. And I always preferred to think of it as an internal time to reflect and see what the year was like to me so that I can just wake up new. We see the symbol of the New Year's Eve where they have the old man followed by New Year's Day with the baby. So that's actually what's happening to us on an energetic level. So a suggested exercise that I like to do is you could write down a fears and failure list of everything you did wrong, that you feel you did wrong. Allow your inner judge to run rampantly. So, or what did you avoid doing or starting or approaching due to fear or simply you felt like it was a fail? So be it if this was personally where you didn't act to your highest standard with someone, or we ignored our own inner voice and our needs and did not stand up for ourselves, or you outright did something stupid. So if your failures or fears were in your career, where you missed an opportunity to take a class or gain a promotion or even apply to your dream job when you really wanted to, write all of this down. It's not my philosophy to normally suggest with my clients and students to encapsulate and write down their negative expression, but this is necessary. This is our ending closure ritual, and we need to get this out and feel heard. So if you felt you didn't give enough to your kids this year, or your parents, or your family, or your close friends, there's so many people you didn't get to connect with that really mattered to you, or even if you felt you let your partner down, let's download this on paper for the sake of this exercise. Now think of specific instances where you had a want, a desire, or a need that you totally blew off. If other people were involved, write how their behavior influenced you. When every last critical screw-up that happened in 2019 is finished, and you're complete and you're empty like an old dish rag, I want you to do two things. First, take a cleansing breath. Inhale, exhale. That is your instant tool of reboot. And look at the amount of things you wrote and deemed as failures. Just look at it. Is it pages? Is it a paragraph? What is it? Is it a book? Look at that. Just look at that. The second is, I want you to place your list in the center on the floor. And as strange as this sounds, I want you to walk in a small circle counterclockwise 3 times around your letter, around your notebook, around your download of your failures. This is symbolic of turning back time and unwinding what occurred. Now for the fun part. look at each point you wrote and write honestly what you learned from it. So even though you thought it was a failure, try to find one nugget of gold in there, even if you learned that you needed to review a pattern. Although this is painful, and I hear this repeatedly from clients, why did I do it again? We do it again because we see something that we didn't notice before, hopefully. So, write what you learned next to every failure you just wrote. And when you're completely through, read it to your partner if you have one. This is a wonderful exercise to do together. It's a way of creating more intimacy. Because sometimes when we're in partnership, regardless if it's a new relationship or if you've been together a long time and life just got in the between the two of you, there are often times when there's conflicts or when the partnership doesn't feel so bonded. It's because one or both of you are not sharing your vulnerabilities. You're just tasking in life. And when you share a list like this, so again, you could go to two separate rooms, one stay in the bedroom, one stay in the living room, or just sit apart while you do your list. And then the second part, write what you learned. And then to share this with your partner, you take turns. This is basically admitting I'm human. And I fail at times, and I don't have it all together. And oftentimes we're afraid to share that part of us because of our insecurities, that we're not good enough and they're going to leave us if they think we're a hot mess. But to express your vulnerability of your inner process and what you've seen from it, your growth, I feel there's no greater bond between humans, regardless if it's your partner or your friends or family. We don't often check in to see where our relationships are at spiritually, and this is a way of doing that. So when I was married, I would ask my husband to share at the end of his day any revelations or new awarenesses he had. Not just the mundane, boring stuff, this happened with a guest or something, but something big, like that's what fills me. That's the juice I live off of, is when someone's awareness is sharp and that is their primary focus, is what am I learning? What am I witnessing? What am I seeing? So for me, if someone I choose to be intimate with cannot answer a question like that, I guarantee at my current evolution, it wouldn't support my needs. If you're anything like me, honor that and follow through with that. Make certain you do not waste your time with people that are just superficial, that are still partying, that are still just tasking, that it's still all about this is how much money I made this week. Who cares? Like, what lives did you change? What did you learn this week? Like, that's what matters, I believe. This is our cultivating our spiritual path. So now, if you're not in a relationship, you can do this exercise with a friend or family member that you trust. And again, having them do it also is fun. Or lastly, if you live alone, I want you to read it out loud to yourself, to your pet, your dog, your cat, your fish, and you know they're great at responding. So, but it's important to read it out loud. There's studies published about manifesting and what's referred to as thought to deed or thought to form. It says when we have a new thought or an idea, let's say we're thinking about a new business or an adventure you wish to do with someone, the thought alone gives a 20% chance of it happening. By writing it down, it increases the likelihood of it happening to 40% chance of it crystallizing. Then when we share it by speaking it out loud, this increases it to 60% that this is going to happen. A wise friend of mine just shared that with me not long ago, and I love anything having to do with brain, mind, processing stuff. So this was juice, and I wanted to share it with all of you. Okay, so now we don't want our fears and failures crystallized, yet we do want to download them and clear them out of us. Just let it go. Clear it out of our brains, clear it out of our body. We want to empty out. And the lessons learned are what becomes highlighted. So this is why you must do that second part of it. Don't end on a bad note. For all of my estheticians out there, we always talk about the machine galvanic and the way to remember that you end on a positive note, on a positive polarity. It's the same thing. We want to end on a positive note. And that can only be is after we download all of these failures that we criticized ourselves and beat ourselves up relentlessly over, then we're going to write, but this is what I learned, or this is what I'm learning. It might be present tense because it's still unraveling. So we want that to be more concrete. So we have a new decade at our doorstep. So we're not only reflecting on the ending of 2019, but it's an entire decade. Like, where were you? How did you bring in the year 2000? What did you do? Where were you at internally? Inside, were you in a relationship? Where were you at? What has evolved for you over the last 10 years? If you actually look at it over the decade, where were you more focused? What mattered most to you? Were you focused more on career and making money or recognition? Was it more about your health, getting your body into shape? Was it more about, it's all about, I want to be married, I want kids, I want a relationship, I want my life partner? Or was it your spiritual development? I want enlightenment, and that's all that matters. Or perhaps it was a little of all of them. Yet these are important questions to ask yourself and allow the space for the journey of reflection to answer them. Again, any question that's posed to us brings with it the journey and the spaciousness that our awareness lights up and starts to travel, starts to seek out its answer. That is the glory of humanness. That is our design. One of the greatest disappointments we can experience this lifetime is waking up one day and we're old and life is behind us. The shock of how did I get here? How did this happen? Why am I alone? Why am I broke? Why is my health bad? What is the purpose of this life? And why did I waste all of the time? So regardless if you are 19 or 39 or 89 and listening to this, it's never too late. Like, begin taking charge. Begin stating what matters to you, clearing out the old and allowing in the new. This is part of it. So asking all of these questions with ruthless self-honesty. I got that from all of my wonderful AANA comrades. It's about ruthless self-honesty. See where you need to give more attention to have a more fulfilling life. A life you're proud of, a life of, I've always dreamed of this, or I'd never dreamed it could be this incredible. That's how my life is. I mean, that is how my life is, and I'm grateful every single day for it. So let's get back to this ritual of cleansing out 2019 and this past decade. So getting a sage stick, either by burning it or you could get the essential oil, the aromatherapy of sage. Both are found at a health food store and used in the American Indian traditions as a tool to purify the environment. I use this anytime I leave a home where I'm moving, and it's called smudging, or I move into a new space, or even if I'm traveling, I'll take the essential oil and I'll go into my hotel room or whatever room I'm staying in, my B&B, whatever, and I will like cleanse it. I'll put it in a little cup of water with some drops of the sage oil, and I actually just sprinkle it. I anoint myself, I anoint the corners of the room. So you always start, let's say we're going to use the smudge stick first. So you start by lighting it, and there will be a nice smoke that happens, and you put it over the top of your head, down the front of you. I lift both feet, so any cords on the feet, and I bring it up the back of me and clear myself first, and then I go into each room of the home or business or whatever you're clearing, and you do each corner, you do all windows, do a circular motion around the windows, around mirrors, around doors, with the intention of clearing out. May all that no longer serves us, may all that is not of love, of purity, of growth, of however you want to say it, to release it. I have worked with estheticians, massage therapists, counselors, nurses, and sometimes when they're telling me that they're like, I'm so tired, I'm just so drained, like it's been intense, like these people are just really sucking me dry. It's like, what's happening? They're not sucking you dry. You are just so filled with shit from taking on their stuff that it's showing you need to cleanse. So I always have taught, and they talk about public and personal hygiene. I talk about spiritual hygiene. And you need to check in with that and know if at the end of working a shift, are you just tired because of normal fatigue, or are you like drained? And if you're drained, then you need to use these little tips and clear yourself. It works. So if you're using a sage stick, light the end and clear yourself and do all of that. And if you have pets or other people in the home, ask, would you like to be cleansed? Not the pets, of course, they'll just answer. I always clear my dogs. And clear anyone in the house. My daughter used to do this at 3. I'd have to follow her around to make sure no sparks were there. And she's all, Mommy, could I smudge the house? So she loves smudging. So she knows how to smudge all these things. Now she's 26. She's done it her whole life. And she knows, I gotta smudge the house. She knows. So, and when you're done with the whole smudging, put it under the faucet and put it out. And you could extinguish the end of it. I was in a class last night, and the students were having some challenges, and they said, could we smudge? And they did. But this was like a torch. I mean, it was so intense that the whole school smelled like people that don't know sage. They thought someone was getting stoned. So it was a little more intense than I anticipated. I was afraid of fire alarms going off. But I'll tell you what, the class felt great. They're cleared, they're renewed, and if that's what it took, yay, I love it. Okay, so if you're using the essential oil of the sage, like I said, you can do it like the anointing in a glass of water, or there are diffusers that you could put drops in and light the little candle underneath, and it will warm that up, and that's wonderful. So whenever there's an argument, or if someone's sad or sick, or whenever my guests leave, because I do my booking.com for guests, so I often have wonderful guests from all over the world and from Texas and Hawaii, and I love it. Aloha in Texas, if you're wondering. Anyways, but I smudge the rooms. I clear it out with sage. I clear out the old and allow the new energy in, so that anyone that comes in, they feel like, okay, this is my space, not like this is someone else's home. Again, energetically clearing out old people's stuff and thoughts and ways and beliefs and things. And then it's just clear. Then someone new comes in and feels like, oh, I fit here. It's a feeling of fitting, and it feels wonderful. I'm home, even though I'm not home. I love your home. People say all the time when they visit, I love your home. I just love that. That matters. It's like they're walking into my heart. But I keep it clean. I keep it purified. I cleanse it. I do my Nag Champa incense. That's another way of clarifying and purifying your room. So even if you wake up feeling off or something's up, then I'm telling you, for all of you healers and empaths and kind, open-hearted beings, it's important to check in daily to see if you're holding on to the people and experiences you're encountered. We are designed to witness and be present for, not to hold on in our minds and bodies, not to repeat the scenario over and over again. We got to just witness it, be grounded, be clear. So this holding will cause undue stress, toxicity, body soreness, fatigue, negative thinking, feelings of hopelessness or dread. If you're lacking motivation and visions of hope, perhaps it's time for an intentional clearing away of what is not for you or your highest good. There was a time when I was younger, before I even acknowledged that I was a healer and the empath that I am, and I didn't have my boundaries clear or my spiritual tools down. And I had physical pain in my 20s, and I'd feel depressed, and I'd be unhappy and so emotional. And it took a while to realize, wait, overall, I'm a fairly joyous person. So what was happening was, as I worked with these clients, that I would take on their stuff. And that's where my ego thought, I'm responsible for taking on and healing and helping my friend, my clients, these people, my family. No, it is not that way. We are just a catalyst to listen, a vessel to listen, to allow it to run through us, back into the earth, back into the ethers, back into the heavens, and we're just merely there in our presence to witness, so someone is supported and not alone. So my final cleansing tool to reboot is a sea salt essential oil bath. I have mentioned this in many podcasts previously, I am certain, because I personally love baths and use them to clear my emotional and psychic body. It works spectacularly. It might be one of my favorites because I do have a lot of water elements in my astrological chart, and using water as a tool, it enhances, it purifies, and empowers. So all needing the balance of water to soften, to bring you into your heart and into your emotions, and to clear yourself, I recommend trying a bath. I highly believe in sea salt as foundational in the tub because we're made of salt water. In the womb, we're created in a pool of salt water. This is our conception. It's a primal rejuvenation. It's about immersing ourselves back into where we began, rebooting. And if you have an ocean around you, go and float in that heavenly ocean. I am so excited to be going home to Maui for a visit in the next 2 weeks to see my friends, my ohana, and mostly to be embraced by Mother Maui in her waters. Oh my God, it's heaven. Okay, also in the tub, Epsom salts are very good because they detoxify the body. They have magnesium. It helps to remineralize the body. It pulls stuff out. Baking soda is also good. That will alkaline the body if you're too acidic with sugar and alcohol and dairy and fruits and too much sweets and all of that stuff. Breads, that's too acidic. So the baking soda will alkaline your body, as well as it makes your skin so soft. It is heavenly. And you could use any essential oil that you're drawn to. I mean, everybody loves lavender, there's citrus, there's chamomile, there's so many different things. Yet I will give you a little tip here. If it's really an intense purification, like you've been around your family or clients or coworkers and everybody's squawking and it's intense and you're just tired and exhausted and overdone, use sage essential oil like I was speaking about, and you only need about 8 to 10 drops in a full bath, and do it right at the end of the fill before you turn your water off. So when you get to the level where your bath is, right before you turn it off, just put those drops in so it blends just a little bit, turn the water off, and enjoy. The other heavy hitter, anyone who's taken my aromatherapy classes knows about this, is spikenard. This is what I love about spikenard. So this is scientific. It's the same oils that Jesus used to anoint his robes. It is for protecting the heart energetically and physically. So people that have chronic high blood pressure, heart palpitations, irregular heartbeat, etc., anything having to do with the heart, just so you know, those symptoms are physical. I am aware of that, yet they can be associated with psychic or emotional congestion, where you are holding on to other people's stuff. It's also for depossession, where an entity or someone's energy goes into you and you keep it, you hold it. So this is depossession. This is like serious hardcore stuff. And when you smell spikenard, it smells like a locker room, like dirt. I love it. It's very earthy, very grounding, very I'm here and no one's going to screw with me. That's how we want it to be. So we are not being healers or supportive friends that we think we are if we end up holding on to the person's sadness, to the person's tragedies. If it's taking us down too, then nobody's winning. So again, our job is to witness and to be present. It is not to, in any way, to take on the stuff. That's not how you heal. You don't heal by fixing. You actually heal by witnessing and being present and validating. I see you're having a hard time. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your trust. That's how we heal. Okay, so now you have this lovely tub, and you could light candles, you could light incense, you could make a cup of your favorite tea, or since this is a New Year's Eve ritual, you could have a glass of wine or champagne. Don't do this buzzed. This is something to do consciously. But if you want to have a glass of wine or champagne, then bring that to the tub with you. In the old days, my best friend, she didn't have a tub. She lived in an apartment, and we both are Libras and love tubs and all that stuff. And she's Pisces rising. She also has a lot of water in her chart. And we would go to my house that had 2 tubs, and we'd have our glass of wine, and we'd yell back and forth to each other that we were enjoying our bath. We were taking a bath together in the same house. It was a fun thing to do. Anyways, okay, so what I want you to do is for 20 minutes to just marinate in this tub. Let it saturate you. Meditate, enjoy it, do nothing. I don't want you on your phone in any way. And if you need your phone nearby to set the timer for 20 minutes, I want you in there for 20 minutes. And as you get up, this is where the intention comes in. I want you to do it with saying something like, as I rise up, I leave behind all the thoughts, all the negative thoughts, energy, vibrations, belief systems of others and myself that no longer serve me. As I rise up, I leave behind all the negative thoughts, energy, vibrations, beliefs of others and myself that no longer serves me. And then you stand up and you let that water out and let it drain down back to the earth, and you blot yourself off and you are renewed. Notice, check in. Are you lighter? Is there a deeper breath? Is there more presence? Is there gratitude for taking that time for that self-care to nurture yourself? Do you feel purified? It's wonderful. And breathe. Keep breathing. Okay. I am beginning to wind down. Our next podcast will be bringing in the new decade with intentions, strong intentions and a plan. We're moving into the year of the rat. It's going to be a prosperous year. It's going to be a year that so much happens. Oh my goodness, what's happening out there on the planet inside the microcosm versus the macrocosm. Yes, so it will be time to cleanse all of that old away, all of that holiday food of sugar and pasta and alcohol, and time to get ourselves back on point, to allow our bodies to be fresh and strong, to be our optimal best self in this new decade. This isn't just a new year, it's a new decade. Prepare to be your best. I offer my 30-day detox spiritual reboot, and I will be doing that in-house in South Austin beginning Thursday night from 6:30 to 9, January 23rd, 30th, February 6th and 13th. That is $300. I do need a deposit of $150 to hold your spot. And that's going to include my customized cleanse. So regardless if you are taking medication or whatever it is, or whatever your health issues or whatever your personal concerns, I'll tweak it slightly for you. There's an additional cost for supplements that are optional but encouraged, and I sell those and give you a 10% discount. You get total text support, or if you need to check in and call in those first few days, that sometimes could be challenging, those first 5 days. You'll have group support of the class, which is another bonding, another way of community. Each class I'm going to have my alkaline soup, so you'll have a nice nourishing soup if you're coming at the end of your busy day. So there's your dinner already. And we're going to do a different guided meditation each week. We are going to do movement. We are going to do a journaling, a very process-oriented, mind-blowing, awakening journaling exercise. And then for about an hour and a half, I'm going to give you pure knowledge about how to change your life physically, mentally, and emotionally. And if you're not in Austin, I teach this same program one-on-one virtually for $500. And if you are in the healing arts and want to do this towards life coaching, or you're a personal trainer, massage therapist, esthetician, and you really want to offer your clients a level of integrity on all these levels, how to really help them, then I will cater the class. It's all similar information, but I will specially cater it to where your weaker areas are. Like if you're a personal trainer and you know the exercise part, then we'll go more into nutrition, or we'll go more into the emotional detox, etc. So yes, that is available, and check out my website, spaluna.com. I have a lot of testimonials starting to come in because I'm writing all my people and saying, please write your testimonials. So there's a whole testimonial page on my workshops and my work as a life coach and stuff. And also, I have my Be a Relationship Architect intensive workshop coming up again, our second one with David Garrison, and that's going to be Saturday and Sunday, February 8th and 9th. This is a wonderful Valentine gift, Christmas gift to give to yourself for $300, or for two of you. This could be you and a friend, you and a partner, you and your mother, you and whoever. 2 for $500, and that's going to be 10 to 5, and we have a whole booklet for you to fill out, a whole contract with interactive exercises and process-oriented. We're going to give you so many tools and regardless, it's about clearing your past programs to create your ideal partnership, the ideal person that lives with you, that's in front of you, that brings the highest growth and fills your heart more than anyone on the planet. Or if you're in a relationship, to redesign your current relationship by learning communication skills and intimacy tools that will last a lifetime. Relationships are not disposable. When we do our work, they can last forever as we evolve and grow. It's beautiful. I offer Insight Life Coaching. Many of you listening, I know, are my clients. I value you, and I'm $100 a session, or you could do 2 sessions up front for $150. Those are 1-hour sessions, and we do those virtually via FaceTime, Skype, or Messenger, and you are welcome to gift one of those to someone in need. I would appreciate it, and they would appreciate it. I'm very... I get to bottom line, we get to the issue, and we do some shifts, and I have you do lots of reflection. Okay, so thank you all for supporting me and following me this year in 2019. Every week I see that I'm getting more followers by like 100 plus, and different places in the country and in the world are listening to me, and I'm so grateful for that. So thank you for following, for liking, for sharing. Anyone that you feel any of my words will help. I do this for free because I want to change the planet one person at a time. So I don't know how to read my reviews. Yes, I always admit that. But any comments you have or ideas that you may want a podcast on in 2020, you're welcome to either text me at 808-283-7587, or you can email me, Samana, SAMANA, at spaluna, SPALUNA.com. And I would love to hear from you. Aloha and happy New Year's Eve, and may the ending of this decade go out gracefully and with awareness and your eyes open. Thank you.